Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Hey. All right. Cameras up. Check 1 2 1 2.
Is this thing on?
Man, you sound a little north of 85.
We right at 85. 85 live.
Nice, nice. Dial in on this fresh Monday.
It is Monday.
All right. Here we go. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul Beeee, Buddi3 Da Gawd. All of you chat chimers, ghost listeners, radio listeners. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Monday, October 2nd, 2023. I think
coming through
right this time.
Yeah, they locked in on this Monday morning. The chat already.
Check it out.
Already.
Well, good morning to y'all. Up early, I see in the chat. Leah Keister gives us a happy, magnificent Monday to all. She makes it easy on us on Mondays.
Yeah.
By Friday, she's like, y'all tongue should be untwisted by Friday.
Brain should be unscrambled.
Tamika Johnson gives us some sunshine. Good morning to you.
Let it in.
Snipes says good morning, y'all.
Hey, sis. Still celebrating your birthday?
Yeah. Let us know how that went. Lots went on this weekend. Pop said, good Monday morning, First Sky, and mad love from Las Vegas. All right.
Man. Shout out to Vegas, man. I don't know if you caught it. I came across a social media post of King LeBron James from the Sphere out there in Vegas. U2 had a show out there. Yeah. Man, I don't know. It looked crazy. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know if y'all saw the Sphere out there, but the future is now.
Everybody been seeing it from the outside with all the craziness, but they finally got to see it from the inside this weekend. It looks real crazy, real Thunderdome.
Yes, Thunderdome. That's that. Yes. My thoughts exactly.
Yeah. Wanda Lewis gives us a good morning. Good morning to you. Mark Manor says good morning from Minneapolis. Man, he was out there, bro. I saw the pictures of you standing next to some of the Prince stuff out there. So represent. Appreciate it. Also appreciate you checking in, man. Even though you're out of town, appreciate that very much. Yeah. Amy Holmes in the house says happy Monday, all. Good morning to you. Kimber Snipes says happy. Amy H and I want to learn more about what you're doing. Who's you? Who you talking about?
You talking to us?
What are we doing?
Hey, who you talking to? Let us know.
Anyways, thank you very much for joining us on this Monday. It is the beginning of October already, so man, it's a trip. It's supposed to be 92 degrees today, though.
Really?
And then it's supposed to rain later tonight and tomorrow morning. Then it'll be down to like 60. We get into that season again, bro, where it's getting ready to be like, do I wear a coat? What do I do?
Man, yeah, you gotta bring the jacket out in the morning, and then by noon you gotta take it off.
Walk around naked. Lucy Rodriguez says, Buenos dias. Good morning to you. Good morning.
Hey.
Kimber Snipes is talking to Amy H. She said, I put her name in the sentence and everything. Okay. Oh, yeah. But
it's just Paul.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
Paul misread it. That's what it is.
I misread it. Yeah.
He don't got his readers on, y'all.
It is Monday. Sorry about that. Yeah, let y'all talk with each other. Let us know what you guys did over the weekend. There was a lot that went on over the weekend. I saw a whole bunch of people taking pictures with brother Justin Pearson.
Hey,
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. Who showed up to that meeting, came through.
yeah,
Also, we had a good content creators camp over at the Culture House Saturday, so that went well. Next week we'll be back at Elevator Spaces.
man.
We'll talk about that. What else happened? We just talked about Vegas. I did see a few people out there that went to go see U2 at the Dome. More
Man,
more people on my feed went to Kansas City to go see Beyonce though.
it was a lot of that.
A lot of that.
Renaissance tour still going. Actually, was texting a friend of mine. Yeah, did anybody go out to that? Did y'all buy those $500 tickets
That's crazy. It's real crazy.
for the nosebleeds though?
Yeah. Also, there's several meetings and things that happened over the weekend. We can definitely talk about. DHHS was real busy over the weekend, dropping stuff. Of course, there was the Democratic gala that happened over the weekend as well. I went to the Kaneko soiree this weekend. So lots of stuff happened this weekend, and of course, we got to talk a little bit of, unfortunately, about the violence that happened over the weekend too.
Yeah, I did hear about that. I
Oh
caught
man,
wind of that all the way up here, man. So yeah, man. Yeah, man. We'll definitely be talking about that today, at least. Mentioning it. Prayers goes out to everybody, involved in that. Please, get well soon.
yeah. We'll definitely talk about that. It's in the newspaper. I'm worried about the language that's being used a little bit
Oh
too
yeah.
on this whole, they're calling it a mass shooting that happened, and it'll. It's unfortunate that it's gone down. A young person lost their life,
Mhm.
and we're gonna have to mention it this time. We don't really talk too much about that kind of crime, but it's affecting us in a way where, like, what's going on here. We need some answers. You start
Gotta talk
talking
about
about
it.
it like that, man. Mass shooting is what they're trying to call it. The police department called it. So yeah, we gotta figure out what's happening. We did talk. Buddy reminded me, we talked to brother Kasim and brother Sherman Wells last week, and we talked to them about coming on the show this week. So we'll definitely bring them on and hear their opinions, see what they have to say about it. And plus, they have that thing coming up pretty soon here. I guess that's next weekend. It's happening, right?
Yeah, I believe that's
Gang,
this Saturday.
gang intervention
Yep, the 7th.
event. So we'll have to have them on this week and talk more about this. I mean, every time I hear about what's going on around here, I think about how much more this is so relevant right here. This gang
Man,
education prevention.
you're right on time.
Nobody's. People are trying to do what they're doing. I would love to have some people on to hear what they're doing about it. But we do have these brothers on to talk about what they're doing about it, and they're actually talking to kids and families directly, and coming from a viewpoint of knowing what they're going through. So we're gonna continue to talk about this and say, bring your family members and tell people, this is happening Saturday. The, actually, no, this already passed. Did it pass?
No, they pushed it back. Remember?
Oh, that's right. They pushed it back. Yeah. You got the wrong date on this one. Yep.
Yep.
Yep. We didn't get the new flyer yet. That's what it
That's
was.
what it was. Yeah, brother Sherman was supposed to send us, but he's been pretty busy with with a lot.
Yeah.
So
We're
shout out to
better.
brother Sherman Wells. And yeah. So that information is a little outdated as far as the date. It is going down this Saturday, October 7th. So hopefully we can definitely get him back on this week.
And I was like, boy, I sure hope I didn't miss that one.
Nah, man, no, it's
Yeah.
it this weekend.
Uh, Kimmer Snipe says, you guys are in you're talking here. Kimmer Snipe says, Ben Nelson Gala Sneaker Ball Content Creators Camp Political Summit. You've been busy.
Yeah, she said,
Weekend.
"Eyes are tired, boss."
Yeah, that's what's up. Christy Nort gives us a good morning. Good morning to you,
Hey,
Christy. Good to hear from you, brother. Maria Sanchez says, I saw Destiny Child way back. That's as close
Like,
as you getting to Beyonce these
yeah,
days.
does that count?
Marla Harrison says there was a 11 high school homecoming on Saturday. All the restaurants were packed Saturday.
Oh man, couldn't get no grub.
That's what was going on, man.
He tried to get you some grub too, Paul.
Out of the loop I get, man, I don't even know what's going on with homecoming no more or nothing. Kids was out. So this is on the heels of what we just talked about the violence, unfortunate violence that went down over the weekend. It sounds like there was a whole lot of young folks out, and
Mm.
that you know, not that it makes sense, but it's just like, oh wow, okay, yeah. Some incident popped off, and it was kind of deep with young folks this weekend. So
A lot of
definitely talk
activity.
about it. Yeah, man. Kimmer said I tried to go to Osaka on Saturday. You couldn't get in either. Nobody can get in. She said I found a hibachi grill in Council Bluffs though because of
Okay. 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 Found a new spot. Hey, when life gives you lemons, you know.
you had to leave the state to go find some food this week.
cross the state lines.
Thanks for joining us once again and getting up so early on this good on the good morning portion of the show.
Yeah,
As
yeah.
you well know, we'll have brother senators Terrell McKinney and Justin Wayne on. This is October. I remember the DED was talking about some funds were going to go out in October, so we're coming up to it. This is the month. Things are starting to speed up, ramp up. So definitely have a lot to talk to the senators about. In the meantime, between time though, buddy, how are you doing? How was your weekend?
It was all right. It was all right. Kind of mixed bag. Went to Papados for the first time with Mama God. It's
Never
cool.
heard of
You never heard of Papados? Okay, it's like a high end seafood restaurant, like gumbo, crab leg, steak,
like Bubba
shrimp.
Gump.
Yeah, man. Hey, bubblegum shrimp. Actually, I like bubblegum a little better than Papados, to be honest, man. Yeah, yeah. I'd have been out the bubblegum a couple times. Good eating, y'all. Good eating. But yeah. Just chill. Had a little, mother son time with Mama God. Man, still working on my truck, man. Hoopty crew.
Man,
Yes, it's giving me the blues, but I'm feeling good about it because I'm getting things done. Changed my catalytic converters. I was under there,
it's crazy.
put in work. But yeah, that's pretty much my my weekend, man. Just a little housework, cut my grass, nothing too crazy. Went to
Is
a
that
comedy show last night.
something about that makes me want to go? Hey, that's great.
Hey, very mundane, home life.
Man, just I'm foreign to it. I don't know nothing. All I know about catalytic converters is that the meth heads got me for mine on my truck.
Hey, I'm trying to figure out where they take them. though. I need to take my old ones. Get a couple dollars. Get a couple dollars. If you know where where the meth heads take the catalytic converters that they steal, let me know so I can take my old ones. Try to give me a couple coins.
Oh man. Oh brother. All right then.
Hey, but if you ever need, a little work or a little lucky, it helps to be able to do it yourself, man. Because these garages be trying to charge your arm and a leg, man.
Yeah, you got to find you a good person if at all. But yeah, I hear that, man. I don't know, man. I read an article about car prices coming down, so you might want to look into that because
Okay,
I'm at the point now in my with my age right now where I'm like, nah, bro. As soon as this thing starts hiccuping, I'm going to get something else because I'm not. I ain't gonna be up underneath the car like that with this. I just can't.
yeah, I can
I
feel
just
that.
on so many levels, like this the time, the trouble, if I'm gonna smoke my head on something, it's gonna be about investments and stuff. Right now, I ain't got the capacity anymore to be tooling on the ride. And I know, with little Lucky being around, the only reason why I bought that car though is because I got a good mechanic. So it's like,
Okay,
yeah, no, I had
there
to
you
get some
go.
infrastructure first before I went and bought something old.
Yeah, that helps. Especially with the old schools.
Yeah, man. Kimber Snipe says, buddy, my ex's dad, who was from Omaha, plays his saxophone at Papa Do's sometime in Atlanta. That's great.
Okay,
They got live music over there, huh?
hey, it's a good atmosphere. It's a cool spot. Yeah, definitely my first time there. Enjoyed that.
Looks like Mayor Sanchez said, I got my Karate Kid on and paint the fence at home. I saw
Yeah.
some video y'all out there getting busy in the yard. I was like, yeah, it looks good. Looks like you guys are taking care of business over there, man. Appreciate that, fam. Appreciate you with the just looking at you with family time and taking care of the house. It's a
Yeah.
beautiful scene, beautiful thought.
I mean, in all seriousness, no, I do kind of find it's kind of therapeutic.
Hmm, okay. Yeah. You
Kind
got
of
that
get the.
engineer mind too, though. You got the engineer mind.
I do. Like
Mind, yeah.
I enjoy figuring out how my truck works. Like I know, what parts do what and how the truck works, like how it moves. I do find that very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I go out there and try to turn mine over. If it don't start, I get out dramatically, throw the keys in the trash. I'm like, forget this.
Throw the whole car away.
Throw the whole car away. I can't take it. Uh, anyway, just wanted to again just thank everybody. Oh, shout out to the 6:30 crew too. Let me know how the mix was this morning. But
Yeah,
thanks
yeah.
for everybody that gets up, man. Gives us the good mornings the first 15 minutes of the show. Really
Mhm.
love that interaction of just trying to find out how you guys are doing, what you did over the weekend, what's coming up. There's a lot of things coming up this week, of course, and a lot of things to talk about. So, and I also want to take this time to thank everybody who put articles in Friends of First Sky Omaha. The articles are getting a lot more thoughtful, a lot more pointed to where we're gonna pull them and talk about them. So really appreciate everybody doing that. And with
Trying
that
to.
said, we're gonna go ahead and get this show on the road.
Hey, let's
Ladies and
start the
gentlemen,
show.
let's start the show. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the DS.
Paul Beeee, Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you chat chimers, ghost listeners, radio listeners. Thanks for joining us on this Monday, October 2nd, 2023 for a fresh edition of First Sky Omaha in the morning. We will have Brother Senators Terrell, McKinney, and Justin Wayne on as special guests today and talk to them about what's going on here we got to get back to some of this 531 talk. It is the month that DED is going to be doing some things. But, of course, other things happening as well. These guys are about, of course, we always talk about prison reform, which is heavy on our minds and stuff right now. I just started working on some documentary films that First Sky Omaha is going to produce for Metropolitan Community College, and working with Diane Good-Collins, who's in the news today, for the reentry program. So we'll be talking a lot about what's going on with that. And some of the suggestions, I found that headline to be kind of like, it was the headline about workforce being a reason for leniency in sentencing and so on and so forth. Okay, well, this has an approach.
Yeah. I mean, it's a quite interesting conversation. A couple layers to that. So yeah, we'll definitely be getting into that.
Most def. What else we get into today?
Yeah. We'll definitely also talk about what's going on with DHHS. It's kind of been popping up a lot in the news lately. And which is kind of interesting because you remember, again, both prisons and DHHS are the two agencies that we've been kind of side-eyeing because, again, the inspector generals have been cut off to get any information from these two agencies. So definitely, continuing to keep an eye on their activities. And lately, the biggest news coming out about WIC. Of course, on Friday, we talked about the impeding government shutdown, which we were able to dodge over the weekend. So again, looking at what is the status of WIC, what's going on, and as of right now, no interruptions. So that's good news. So we'll definitely talk about that program. Also looking at a few bills. There was actually a walkout over the weekend, or just on Friday. A dozen of students at Northwest High School walked out on Friday to protest LB 574, which deals with gender affirming care for youth. And Governor Pillen actually spoke up and made an announcement on the new guidelines involving minors. So we'll talk about that coming up in LB 574, aka the Let Them Grow Act. So we'll definitely be diving into that. Also, Kimmer kind of mentioned it, and also Paul said a few people were taking pictures with the brother Justin Pearson from Tennessee. Just wondering if anybody made it to that event. Let's talk about it a little more. Of course, that was surrounding Black Votes Matter and election season coming up. So of course, I'm expecting another conversation as far as voting and things like that. But I have some thoughts on that I would like to share a little later on in the show. So we'll definitely be getting into that as well. And then, of course, as Paul mentioned, looking at, of course, the violence over the weekend, not really I'll say frequent topic. That's the word I'm looking for here on the show, but definitely something we got to talk about. Rest in peace to the young man that lost his life. And man, trying to figure out some things, man. So again, big shout out to brother Kasim Shabazz and brother Sherman Wells of Untamed and the BAA for throwing the event that they will be throwing this weekend to kind of steer some young folk away from that kind of activity. We'll be talking about all that and more. As always, if there's anything on your hearts, your minds happening in your world that you would like to discuss, definitely feel free to let us know. Chime into the chat. Let your mind be free. Let your voice be heard. If we have some information, we'll talk about it. In the meantime, in between time, Paul Beeee, how you doing, man? I ain't really get to ask you. How was your weekend?
Oh man, okay, just busy. Like I said, just really busy. Just try to catch up on some stuff that I knew was due this week. So
Yeah, man.
just work stuff, man. Just trying to just continually trying to find the balance of work. Just really working on sleep, working on personally just making sure that that I put some real thought and effort into that and into my getting making sure I get sleep and
Mm-hmm.
everything that I need. So just steady every day trying to find balance, but not bad. But okay, kind of laid low a little bit. Went out to one event for a little bit and shook some hands and stuff like that, and that's about it. Kind of stayed around and worked on some things and got organized at home. It always helps. Getting organized at home helps my head be organized. So
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
yeah, man.
Got
So
declutter the space, if you will. You kind of mentioned it. How was the content creators camp? Big shout out to anybody who came out.
yeah, it was good. We always have really good discussions, especially if I'm the one that's doing the instructing because I kind of tend to like the discussion and the participation a little bit more than just like barreling through the lessons. Not that that's what everybody does. A content creating creators camp is kind of starting to be known for that. There's a lot of good participation going on. So we I never get through my second hour lesson. We always just stuck on the first, but we got a lot. We talked about a lot this time
Mhm.
around, and it seemed to me people were saying afterwards that they learned some stuff today and so on. So it's working. It's coming together, man. There's a lot of clarity that's happening there, and everybody's kind of really looking forward to the next iteration of this too. They want to know about how to work certain social media platforms and
Mhm.
want more training in tech, how to do photos, how to get the sound right, and so on and so forth. So I'm excited about this. We only got three more classes of this one, but I'm excited about what we're going to do in 2024 now because of
Yeah.
what's been going on. So it's been pretty good.
Yeah, and those conversations are already starting up, plans are already coming together. So, yeah, definitely look forward to that. Look out for that. For those of you who weren't able to kind of make time or find time or just weren't able to do it this iteration, yeah, tap in, man. This is the beginning of something. I feel so. Definitely appreciate all the support and interaction that we've been getting. Definitely appreciate and love y'all, man.
Most def. We always got somebody in the chat, of course, that has gone to some of these very important meetings out here. Kimber Snipes says she went to the dinner and the political summit. They also have the chairman of the Kentucky Democratic Party, who is the black man, uh, Colin Edridge, Coleman Eldridge is his name.
You got it. You got it,
Get it right. I'm gonna get it right. She says I think both of them are phenomenal speakers. So
man.
apparently, we had some phenomenal speaking going on here at this summit. I was just thinking it's time for us to check back in with Preston Love. We haven't
Yeah.
checked in with brother Preston Love Jr. Anytime recently, so check in with him and see how the political stuff is going. We always try to team up with him, especially when it gets down to like voting season,
Hmm.
which is
And
coming up.
it's kind of interesting. We always think about Omaha as kind of being in its own bubble, but when you really look at it, like a lot of the political happenings, we're on the map, if you will, nationally. Like we got brother Cliff Albright from Atlanta, coming to Omaha and dealing and involving himself in trying to get our vote up in Nebraska.
Hmm.
Also, again, the brothers from Kentucky that just came. Shout out to brother Preston Love Jr. Man, he's really making moves, making some connections, getting some people to come to the community. So yeah, big shout out to him. And yeah,
No stuff.
good.
Yeah, we definitely got to check in with him. But I appreciate you telling us about that firsthand, Miss Snipes. Again, if I'm sure you took notes, can't wait to have you on talk about what's going on. I think this whole effort, this is season 6 for us. Boost to the Roots. We put this out there that we say, hey, join your neighborhood association or start one in your area if you don't have one. And this is going to be very important coming up with what's going on with the vote.
Hmm.
This is going to be very important in the grassroots. Learn from Kimra that the grassroots starts in the neighborhoods, and this is where you can really start to make some change and get people motivated to go to the polls and everything that needs to happen. So I'm sure that all the organizations will be working closely together here in this next year to try to make some change happen through the vote. And so I can't wait to talk to Brother Preston Love and more to Miss Snipes and more to some of the Chad Chimers and people that are joining neighborhood associations if you guys are,
Hmm.
and really kind of putting those three things together and getting the word out that it's time to really kind of push on this because it's going to be a fight. And unfortunately, we live in a state where it's going to be a fight every single time. or, because of a lot of the people in the city are not really aligned with what's going on in our red state. So it's
Hmm.
always going to be a fight. Malik Rogers in the chat says new voter registration numbers released, still ongoing steady decline for North Omaha and Nebraska Democrats.
Man.
Yeah, so steady decline. I like to see the numbers on independents. That's kind of where my head is at on that. Uh,
And Republicans.
I was gonna say, like, we can't really dismiss that as much as we're learning, especially about the black community that are voting Republican. They're really kind of coming out more than they were before. So
Yeah.
interesting to see.
Yeah. Actually,
Mar-
let's go ahead.
Before we do that, I just want to give a shout out to Marlon Harrison. Man, we missed you at the class, bro. He said I had my class reunion this weekend, so I had to miss Justin Pearson this time around. Hopefully, he can come back to Omaha soon. Yeah, I missed him too. I hope that he does come back. I'm glad to see that there's a tie there. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
so yes, we can go ahead and move on. If you want to jump into that article there.
Yeah, I want to just go ahead and jump into it, just a little more information on it while we're talking about it.
Mhm.
And to Marlon's point, there will be other events. So I do want to give a shout out to Black Votes Matter, Brother Preston Love Jr. We've kind of talked about it here on this show, the importance and the impact that having events and having voter registration type things at events, how that might help, entice people. I guess I don't know if that's the right word, but just get people involved. So there will be definitely more events to make sure people are ready to get out and vote throughout the election season. So definitely look out for more announcements from Black Votes Matter. We might see another appearance from Brother Justin Pearson, or you never know who else Brother Preston Love Jr. might bring out. Man, he
Man,
does have a lot of connections. So again, definitely look out for that. But there is a comment from Brother Justin Pearson, as Kimmer says, a powerful speaker. He says, we've got power when we've got power is to elevate the voices of the people or who's been silenced. It ain't that they haven't been screaming, it's that people in power haven't been listening. We've got to get power. So definitely big shout out to Brother Justin Pearson for coming to the community and trying to again engage and inspire people to get politically active, because that's one side of it, but it's definitely an important side of it. I did mention that I had some thoughts on this though that I wanted to share,
mhm.
and just kind of came across mine, man. Like, okay, this is now like feels like the third year or third kind of round of us getting into the election cycle and talking about this, even dating back to mine and soul days. And I'm just thinking, like, as even Brother Malik Rogers talk about numbers declining, what is really going to get people not only to register to vote, but to actually go to the polls and vote? And what I feel like is missing, and Cameron, this might be kind of speaking from your heart, is the issue. Like, what is the plan? What not just talking about voting, but what candidate, what issues do we want the candidates to address? Like, what is the plan? What changes as a people do we want to see, or are we just going with whatever plan the candidates are providing us? Like, what do we actually want to see, and then who best represents that? Where's that approach?
Hmm. Yeah, that's good questions. She's on. Looks like she's in the chat talking about the neighborhoods. Let me jump to Tony Johnson. Said would love thoughts from Senator Terrell, McKinney, and Justin Wayne on low North Omaha votes. We can definitely ask
When they come on.
that when they come on. Yeah, Tough Anderson in the chat from YouTube says getting people registered is great, but it is getting people to vote is what will make the difference.
Right.
Steph.
I would like to see those numbers. Talking about numbers, how what is the ratio of people register versus people who actually go out and vote?
Somebody was talking about that a few weeks back and was saying that there's a big gap there. A lot of people, there's a whole bunch of people registered that didn't come out to vote. And like there's a couple different layers there. Of course, the numbers are low for registration, but even lower for the vote. So
Mm-hmm.
interesting. Jumping back to what Kimmer was saying real quick, she says my approach will always be neighborhoods. Every person I know in the association is an active voter in general, midterm and municipal elections.
Mm.
There's also I need for people to stop blaming it on North Omaha. South Omaha still has the lowest voter turnout in the city.
Mm.
One of the three principles of direct action organizing is shifting power. Another one is getting people to recognize their own.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. Most I appreciate your comments there. She also says these candidates would know the issues if they took the time to build a relationship and understand self interest.
Mm.
Yeah, we always talk about that a lot too. Who's in the neighborhoods talking about this is why people be voting for Don Bacon all the time because he be around. He be here hanging out. So So where's everybody else at? You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
we can't we with that said too, we can't put out we can't forget to talk about Senator Terrell McKinney, who's probably going to rerun. He's
Yeah.
rerunning. He has to be out and about. And he is out and about. He's doing town halls, and he's
Oh
talking
yeah.
to the neighborhoods, talking to his constituents all the time. So hopefully that goes a long way with people wanting to back him. But yeah, this is election season coming up, and it's definitely like look at the numbers. But we already know the numbers are low, whether we look at them or not. To your point, buddy. It's like, what do we do to get people motivated, get them fired?
Right. Right. Because I don't think you can just rest it on people don't care. I think people do care. I just think they feel powerless to make any changes.
And some people, I don't think even people are just feeling powerless. Some people don't are feeling like they're not going to participate. It doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Just like the system is broken, therefore their participation is for naught.
Yeah. T Ren in the chat says, "Why would I vote for people who switch up from the platform they ran for? Democrats moving like Republicans."
Mm,
He's bringing up a good point about why would you vote at all when you know what I'm saying when you're usually voting the lesser of two evils. All these things that you feel like you got to compromise. You don't like neither one of the candidates. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah, which is usually the feeling, unfortunately. Either that or I don't really even know either one of these candidates.
that part. Marlon Harrison says, "Does the immigrant and refugee population in Northeast Omaha affect voting and voting registration?" Good question. Not sure. He says, "I know that's a section of the community that nobody thinks about." Yeah, I'm not sure if anybody is thinking about them on a political stand there. I'm not
Hmm.
sure what the stance is there. It's interesting how we talk about our refugee population, especially in North Omaha, on only on certain levels, on certain topics, certain subjects, but haven't really talked about their numbers when it comes to voting, and if they're able to vote or anything. Don't
Yeah.
really know. Good point, Brother Harrison, for bringing that up.
Hmm.
Tough Anderson says at the last election, registration for North Omaha independent registered voters are out registered and voted Republican and Democrats.
Is that Republicans and Democrats combined? Is that
Hmm. Yeah, good question. Yeah, let us
yeah,
know a little bit more about your comment there. Kimber Snipe says people don't trust. Yeah, people
right?
don't trust. And with good reason. A lot of times, for the most part, it's a tough one. It's a tough one because what it requires your participation. It requires you to kind of really understand what's going on. It requires you to have to always make a decision on who this is going. You know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
when you think about this lesser of two evils thing, that's what turns me off every time I look at it. To be honest, I was like, I don't like neither one of these people right here.
Like if you don't like any of the choices, sometimes you just might not choose,
I mean, that's usually where I go
which is a
with
reasonable
everything.
logic.
Yeah, like with everything. Oh, there's only
Yeah.
two restaurants open right here. No, all right, I guess I'll go.
Right, right. Yeah, it's just a reasonable logic. If you only have two choices and both choices are sorry, then maybe the best choice is not to choose.
Brother Knight in the chat says most of the immigrants aren't concerned with local politics because they do for self. Um, I don't know. I don't know how. I mean, that might be your
Hmm.
opinion on that one. I'm not really sure. I haven't really talked to enough immigrants to know what they're involved in. I've talked to a few of them that have been trying to rally their people. So and that are heavily involved. We're thinking about Brother Kowal and
Yeah,
some
yeah,
folks that are heavily involved. So
yeah.
I don't know. Von Chapman in the chat. Good morning. Says how many new voter were registered after the various galas and rallies? Where are the measurables? That's a good question. We
Good
feel
question. I wouldn't say I feel like they would have them, but maybe we could pull that. But going back to the refugee thing, one thing I'm thinking about is what Cameron always says. It's like she says it's like 108 or something different languages,
Mhm.
and spoken in Omaha alone. So definitely, language barrier alone could be a big like how much
Oh,
literature, how much do we see in other languages?
well, a lot of the people that speak those other languages also speak English.
Yeah.
So we don't forget that it's not like they they are not out here communicating. And the more I think about it, the more I have. Like I said, I've talked to several people who are on that tip. Who are on the idea of we're part of this community. We need
Oh
to
yeah.
have help with the decision making. and everything, especially when it comes to them. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I've talked to more refugees, more especially more like Sudanese people that are very involved. So I'm not sure.
Honestly, now that I think about it, I would say that they would be more inclined to be more involved than an average regular, natural born American, I guess you could say.
Hmm.
Because again, Americans are kind of born in it. You can take it for granted. Like you're born in it. It's just around you. It just happens. You may learn about it. You may not. You can still survive, in society without it. But as a refugee, like you have to learn about the American government in order to even get your citizenship. Like you have to learn it. You have to, your view, your perspective of it is different. Like this, if it's something that you head smoke on and you actually take the time to read, study, you got to take a test. Like just the whole perspective is different.
That's very true. And of course, we're all speculating on all these things. It would be
Right.
good
Right.
good to see some actual numbers and good to talk to some actual refugees on the subject too. So appreciate that. Tough Anderson says Republicans came second at 47% of Democrats were third at less than 41%.
Mm.
Okay, so this breakdown on came in second at 42nd. Yeah, I'm not sure what. Maybe you can explain a little bit more on those figures there. Kimmer Snipe says a lot of these organizations report data to the Nebraska Civic Engagement Table. They might have it. All right,
Okay.
cool, cool. We'll definitely check in with that. T. Ren said that's privilege talking when not physically attacked for trying to vote. The choice seems tougher. Hmm. Privilege
Okay.
talk.
I can see that. As far as you
Talking
speaking,
about
as
how
far
we're
as the
born
history.
in.
Yeah, yeah, in our history of it, as far as literally being physically attacked and being hit with literacy tests and all kinds of things, all the barriers to not voting.
There you go. Mayor Sanchez says, thank you to First Sky and family for providing transparency so we can educate ourselves on what to think. I appreciate that.
Okay. Okay.
Definitely a goal. Appreciate you saying that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. A lot more stuff to find out about. I don't want to get too caught. I'm starting to get turned off a little bit of just about thinking about the numbers. And
Mm.
like, yeah, okay, we can let's go find numbers to back some of these things that we're talking about. And we're gonna find that not enough people registered, not enough people voted
Yeah.
in North and South Omaha. That's what we're going. Not enough. So to me, I'm already jumping to the question of what can be done about that. What's the solution here to like Buddy was talking about earlier, like get people interested, make people trust the situation, or whatever. At least if you go and decide to not be a part of it, make it be because of a actual reason, not just
Hmm.
not just we feeling like, well, it probably ain't gonna work because it blah blah blah.
Right. Because the downside is it still has an impact.
And Precious used to say this all the time. Precious McKesson used to say, used to repeat this all the time. Like, if your vote didn't matter, they wouldn't be trying so hard to suppress it.
Right. Right.
And every other time we're talking about voter suppression, we're talking about it coming from a certain demographic and so on. But to me, it's just kind of an interesting conversation about where everybody seems to feel like they got to take some kind of stand, and even if you don't label yourself what it is, you're kind of taking a stand on the issues, which is what everybody really really would love to just concentrate on instead of people's personalities and stuff.
Man.
Concentrate on the issues and go with that, and a lot of times, man, you're not really looking at it. We talk a lot all the time about like people in the black community moving to the Republican Party and not moving to been there the whole time and just been quiet about it. And now we're finding out that there's a lot more than we thought. But when you ask them why, their issues, some of the issues line up.
Mm.
Some of the
Yeah.
things that they believe, some of the things that the church taught them to believe. Some of these things are lining up with what it is that a certain politician is talking about. And also we can't forget the access part too. Like I keep on bringing up Don Bacon because I feel like Don Bacon is out here in the community more than anybody on both sides.
Low key.
And I hear people talk about him all the time. They now whenever he does something, his office does something that is to our benefit, then we're like, see, that's Republican Party trying to help something. You know what I'm saying? Like that's Don Bacon. It's not even Republican Party. That's Don Bacon trying to do this and do that.
Man.
And we always have people like Michelle Troxler on or Kimber Snipes or people on that are always talking about don't forget about he voted this way on this other thing against your interests.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, just interesting conversation about it. Oh, I like what or Von Chapman says. Let me try this another way. Why is there voter apathy? That's the question to get to. That's the question. T. Ren in the chat says there's a local immigrant and refugee coalition page that estimates some 2,000 people a year settle in Omaha. It's clear a large portion are settling forced to in North Omaha.
Yeah,
Okay.
Omaha's a refugee hub. That's where the government is sending them.
Yeah. I heard at one time we had like the biggest Sudanese population in the country, aside from Minneapolis now. Minneapolis has more.
Okay.
Tough Anderson says we need to stop blaming others and take charge, demand from those who want our vote, become involved and educated in civic actions. That's very, very nice. Hey, Mama God back there. Mama God.
And trying to sneak in.
Trying to see. She did that on
They
purpose.
saw you already. You might as well just say hi.
You know you did that on purpose, Mama
Yeah,
God.
I'm on air. You know what time it is.
Hi, Mama God.
Yeah,
Oh
let me
man.
go ahead and lock my door.
See the Mama God, a baby girl coming through.
Man, got a man work in peace.
See, you know I'm on the air. Oh man, that's hilarious. Tony Johnson said, "Black folks always take it for granted. Take it for granted." Okay, Von Chapman says Don Bacon addressing local community issues and Dems are not. See what I'm saying? Some of these attitudes. T. Ren says, look at his overall record. $1 million park does not align on black issues. Make right alignment on black issues. Make that's right. It doesn't. But again, he's showing more face than anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing stuff that's pretty visible, like that $1 million park. And on top of that, he's from a party that aligns with a whole lot of things that a lot of people in the black community align with.
Yeah, especially financially.
We're learning that financially, religiously,
Yeah.
all kinds of ways. Yeah. So, Rome's review says for every restriction placed on voting, there should be the same on gun ownership or restrictions for both. There's
Okay.
with the ideas again for sure.
The mayor.
Yeah, man, trying to come with some what do you call it? Some just some balance.
Oh yeah. Yeah. yes, that would be the word.
Some fairness. Thanks for everybody who joined in on this. Let's talk about this as this is season 6, Boost to the Roots. Let's talk about what we can do, action wise, and what can happen if we all gather together and try to do something about pushing some things. What would that look like? What would that be? What's the action that needs to be taken? Let's also definitely jump into that. So we'll see. Von Chapman says the blue dot in danger of being lost. I think it is every season it's in danger of being lost. That ain't new. I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think even before it was created, it was always in jeopardy.
Yes. Always. Marianne Williams, good morning. She says, morning. To be fair, Bacon is the elected official and it is his job to be around more, right? Yeah, it is his job to be around. We just, it's easy to forget that when you don't see many other ones around.
Right. Kind of makes him stand out, unfortunately.
T. Ren says economically is false. The only thing black people would possibly align on is religion, very thin.
I don't know, man. I've talked to several, brothers and sisters who align themselves with the Republican Party, and a lot of times they're talking about money. They're talking about finances. This Republican candidate did X, Y, and Z to put this amount of dollars in my pocket, or supported this bill, and it was a tax bill, but I was in that tax bracket that it benefited me. You know what I mean? Kind of going back to the Dave Chappelle joke. Like he was in line looking at all the rural Ohioans and Ohioans, and he was like, "That's not your candidate. He's my candidate. I'm the rich person in line." Like,
and even beyond that, they thinking that they're more attuned with jobs. They align a lot on gun politics a lot of times. There's a lot of connections between, especially black men.
Yeah,
black men especially. A lot of alignment with the Republican Party on a whole bunch of different issues, and then not to mention let's not forget this part too. there's not just alignment with the Republican Party. There's also disillusionment with the Democratic Party so hard that
That too.
people feel like the Democrats are actually working against us a lot of times, and that contributes to that. If you're not going that route, what route you going?
Right. Right.
Maybe somebody who knows more about this can answer some of these questions a little bit deeper. Is our first special guest that's sitting here waiting in the wings. We're going ahead and bring him in. 7:45 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, it's time for Senator Terrell McKinney in the house. Good morning,
What's
bro.
up?
How you
Good
doing?
morning. I'm good. How y'all doing?
All
Not
right.
bad, not bad. Were you in the airport or something? What you doing?
Yeah, I'm in the airport. I'm going to Atlanta for a wireless communication conference or something like that.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Okay. Okay. Let me know when you touch down.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wireless communication conference. Okay. So,
Yeah. Then I gotta go to Raleigh, North Carolina for like a job summit.
Okay. Thinking of a career change?
Nah, it's for legislature for senators.
yeah. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Get some more
Any,
information on those subjects.
yeah. Any
Yeah.
bills brewing or anything?
I don't know. I'm going to see what's going on and figure it out
Okay.
from there. Yeah.
Okay.
Brother McKinney cloud hopping. That's what's up.
Man. Man.
Yeah.
All right.
Definitely safe travels. Well, again, we won't. I guess we'll try to cut to it. Just in case you got to hop on your plane here soon. Just we were kind of wondering. We didn't really get much recap on last Thursday. That's really what we wanted to go back to. Of course, you had the meeting on the DED situation. Was going on with LB 1024. Can you kind of give us your takeaway from the meeting that happened on Thursday?
It was a frustrating meeting.
Mm,
We asked them a lot of questions. It was some questions that we thought was very important that they couldn't answer as far as like requirements and things like that. We pushed them on some things, and my honest, like, I guess debrief from that is that the program manual is what it is. They weren't at that time. They wasn't necessarily open to making any changes, so we just got to make do with what it is right now. But I don't know. It was frustrating just because in that conversation you realize that they don't care about the vision that we set out to do. They
mm,
don't care. They don't care about the uniqueness of what it's going to take to change North Omaha, in my opinion. And I
Hmm.
stress that to
mm,
What makes you think that they don't? What parts specifically makes you feel like they don't care about that vision?
them. Nothing about what they've done has been intentional to actually making change in the community like North Omaha. Like when we would say something, but like, oh, we do this with other programs across the state. And I would just look at them like, yeah, but y'all programs have never worked for my community, and my community is unique, so treat it as that. Don't try to take a cookie cutter approach and think it's gonna work.
Right.
mm,
So what you're feeling a little bit there is that they have a certain way of doing things. They basically took this thing and just implemented how they normally do things all the time in any other instances where they're in charge of doling out some money, and they're not treating us any different than that. And your argument is that none of that worked before for us, and so it's not, it don't really seem like it's going to work for us this time for them to do it their way. That way, is that what you kind of saying on that?
Yeah, for sure. And I just, told them like, you know, look at the legislative intent. Like for a whole year, we told everybody that applied to that process that they could apply again. And the way y'all structured this program doesn't allow for that to happen. You're not listening. Um, like, oh, we're trying to do it. We're trying to do the right thing about all of this. I'm like, so if you're trying to do the right thing, here's a few examples. You had a community informational setting meeting, and you sent out the notice for that meeting on a Friday and gave people 3 days notice. So you call that intentional.
Hmm.
You have informational sessions on these different categories, and you send out the notice a day or day and a half before. How do you call that intentional?
Right. Right.
mm.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, So what approach would you like to see, or as far as saying it's unique, what approach do you think would have the biggest impact with this?
I would say everybody should be able to apply no matter what, and if they don't like the project, just don't like the project. But you shouldn't stop people from applying. Two, I think they should be more hands-on with the community as far as knowing how to navigate the process. Like when we were going through the drafts of the bill, we had a lot of money set aside to do that, and they were like, "No, y'all don't." Basically, like we could do it. Don't worry about that. And they didn't. They're not holding up the end of the bargain. So I'm like, y'all got us out here looking like we lied to our community, and we didn't lie at all. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the thing that frustrates me because you know everything that I've tried to do is try to do right by the community as much as possible, and that's what I stand on, and I I feel it's disrespectful when people got you out here looking like you said something that you didn't do, or like, because, and one thing I told him is, although y'all are expected to carry out the program, everything y'all do wrong is always gonna fall back on us, right,
Mm-hmm.
wrong, or indifferent. Everybody gonna point the finger at us like, look at them, we told y'all that, and all these little dumb rumors and conspiracies are going to continue to manifest, and none of them are true. But when you ain't doing things how they should be, people, don't got the right to be skeptical and pessimistic about the whole process.
Yeah. Do you think that I know that you guys have been in contact with them before all this was going on. I know that there was a change in leadership in the department and stuff like that at one point. Do you feel like you had some understanding and agreements before about how you guys were going to assist with this so that you can avoid so when you're out here making promises to people, you know that you can back it up because you've talked to these individuals or these organizations that said that they would go that route. Do you feel like they changed up? What's the disconnect there with the communication with the DED?
We switched govern to it's we had Ricketts last year and we got Pillin now. It's a
Right.
different administration. Last year we had a black man that was the head of DD. He's gone. All his top leadership is pretty much gone as well, except for like two
Mm.
people. So it's been a lot of changeover. So with that, you expect there to be some disconnect, which is why we tried to get ahead of it and have open lines of communication and things like that. But for whatever reason, they feel as though I don't know. I don't think they feel like they need to listen to us or whatever. But
Mm.
honestly speaking, I'm a part of me is glad they doing what they doing because just figuring out how to navigate it going further because there's other money that we got to allocate next year, and and it's just setting the table for us to kind of write super directional bills so they can't mix it up. So we still got other money on the table, and it's not all bad because a lot of people are going to get wins.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to sit here and act like people ain't gonna get money. Like people are, it's a lot of people that's gonna get some money in the community. You
Mm-hmm.
got Charles Drew and Malcolm X already set to get their money. They both got 20 million apiece. And those applications are already passed. So both of those organizations and both of their projects to be off the ground. That's 40 million to two local projects that are going to do great things in the community. One based around health and one based around Malcolm X and his legacy and things like that. And then you got all those other smaller projects that are going to happen. Like people are going to win. I just don't like how they going about it. I
Mm-hmm.
just say that.
Yeah.
Okay. Some more people got some more things to say. As a matter of fact, our special guest waiting in the wings as well. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna bring in Senator Justin Wayne this morning. Oh, I messed up the whole intro here on that. There we go. Brother Wayne, how you
What
doing, bro?
up?
How you doing?
Peace,
Oh, just
peace.
sitting here listening to McKinney. He got a whole bunch of background noise. I
I
don't
was
know
gonna,
what he's doing.
I was gonna say I listen to McKinney. I'm also listening to them the ladies' conversation over there back. It's all good though, man. I appreciate you tuning in even while you're cloud hopping. How you doing, Brother Wayne?
I'm good. Life is good. Life is good. Just working, doing a little more work, and after last week, just setting up a plan to navigate all of this.
Okay.
Okay. Kind of same question for you. To kind of catch up on the conversation. What is your takeaway? Your kind of debrief of last Thursday's meeting? Are you kind of agreeing with Senator McKinney?
To me, it was refreshing in this sense because once I know the rules to the game, I could figure out how to make sure everybody else gets some wins. And so now that they came forward and they acknowledge that they are eliminating people from applying, which in my opinion is against the law, they are just giving us fuel to go into next year and say, here are the projects we are going to support, and this is what we're going to do. And nothing they can say and do about it that's going to change it. We're not going to leave any discretion to anybody, and we just going to get it done.
So it sounds like y'all don't agree with how this whole Olsen process is playing out as far as people who apply for Olsen only being able to apply. It sounds like you feel like it should be an open application window again.
No. We wrote the bill to say if you were applied in Olsen, you get to basically reapply and update your financials and all those things. And they came out and pretty much said no. If you update,
Brother Wayne, your audio's breaking up really bad for some reason. I'm not really sure what's going on there. Could you try going out, coming back in real quick? We want to hear this for sure.
Yeah.
I go for your house. But what he was trying to say was that everybody that applied through the Olsen process are supposed to be able to apply again. It's not an open process where if you didn't apply through the Olsen process, you can't apply again. It's if you apply through that process, you should be able to apply again.
If you apply to the process, you should be able to apply. Okay.
And so that's not, so they're stopping. I guess who are they stopping from applying? That's what I'm trying to clarify. Like who has been stopped from applying that also applied in Olsen?
So they have different thresholds for each category. So if you, in some categories, didn't score over a 2.0 or above, you can't apply. For two categories, if you didn't get a letter of support from the mayor's office, you can't apply. Then two others, if you didn't get recommended, you don't apply. So it's only one. It's only, I don't even know, like it's. If you didn't get a 2.0 and above, you definitely can't apply right now. And in some categories, if you didn't get support from the city, you're not going to be able to apply.
And this is criteria that y'all didn't write in the bill. This is criteria that the DED themselves came up with that is, in a way, eliminating people that you didn't intend to be eliminated.
Correct.
Okay. Just wanted to clarify. And just want to say, I did read through that Bible, and even us as First Sky, it did kind of like through process of elimination. It was like, okay, one, we wasn't very clear on what of the 8 different categories we could apply for, but after reading it, it was like, well, I guess we only qualify for one, and even there is still some questions. So I can definitely see how that can cause some confusion. But Paul, what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna see Brother Wayne was back. You wanted to finish your thought there, Brother Wayne?
Oh no, I mean Senator McKinney hit the nail on the head that at the end of the day they cut out people, and for us, giving them discretion, which we really thought we didn't give them a whole lot, and they've been able to navigate and figure out how to disqualify people based off of discretion. So, for example, there's a project, Blue Stem in my district, which they got $4 million out of some other funds, but then they've expanded their project. They can't apply. They're disqualified because they got some dollars initially from a housing grant, but that was never the intent to eliminate people. And then when asked, how come these dollars for housing eliminate you, but shovel ready dollars, which are the same dollars, don't eliminate you, they just put a max of $2 million. There wasn't a real clear articulation of why that happened.
Okay. Yeah, lots of questions here. I actually talked to Trey from DED, and he actually talked about coming on the show, and I'm definitely kind of gathering some information or just some questions, just kind of getting the questions ready for when he does come on the show and kind of answer what's going on here with a lot of these things. And also we can kind of talk a little bit about, even with our process, what Buddy was just describing, like the process of elimination, finding out where we even fit, was an interesting set of emails back and forth with our contact. Like it was obvious that they did not want to help us come to the conclusion that we qualified for a certain category. They wanted us to go ahead and state this is the category that we think we're in, and then it was clear. She was like, I even came back with an apology, like, yeah, I'm sorry that we went through all of that. It was really like we're not really, we can't really advise you on where you're supposed to be on this subject. This is kind of some information here that I don't think I knew is where that there's no application process. I was thinking that my understanding was that there was going to be parts of this where people could reapply, but now you're saying that's changed. And did that change recently, or did I get it wrong in the first place?
No, so in the program manual, if you're a house, let's just take housing, you have to have a 2.0 or above economic score.
Mhm.
So that means if you
Mhm.
had a project that had a 1.5, you just qualify from applying, which was never the intent of the law or the law itself. For entrepreneurship and youth development, you got to have a 2.0. So they put this 2.0 in there. But here's the most disheartening part about all of this, is that if you are an entrepreneur, and I think I got a program that's running my virus program is eating up some stuff, but I'm going to try to fix my mic here in a
Yeah, you
second.
might need to close that.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to jump back out.
It's Senator Wayne, man. Okay.
Yeah, Mama God, appreciate that. Yeah, Senator Wayne, we're asking him behind the scenes to shut down his extra programs there, so he can come in a little bit clearer. Um, so yeah, we appreciate that. Let's see where are we going from here. Let's jump into the chat real quick. I want to hear what Brother Wayne was saying so bad. Come back in and let us know. Also, Miss Erica felt I can see on the chat, since I just jumped on and wondered where Senator McKinney was speaking with all of that side conversation picking up. Okay. Von Chapman says, how are the people waiting for funding being prepared, trained to be successful during this waiting period?
Yeah.
Good question.
That was actually my question. Kind of more so the intent behind it though, because it seems like y'all have requested and asked for some type of training, some type of consultation with the people that will be applying. Do you think the lack of that is kind of setting the people up to fail?
I mean, it's a two-sided thing. They're having office hours every week in the community, and they're open office hours, I believe, where people can go and ask questions and things like that. But also, the community, it's a yes, that DD should, in my opinion, should have done more to help people be prepared as far as trying to tell them where they should apply. What should they expect? What do you need? But also, the community, in my opinion, has had a year just to work on getting ready as well. I can't just put it all on them. Like, if you're not ready at this point, then you never was gonna be ready, in my opinion. That's just being honest.
Okay.
Because this is why. If we already know these systems are set up to not help us and do things that make it hard for us to, be successful or take advantage of these opportunities, we can't just sit down and then wait for them to send out an application and say, "Come help us."
Yeah, I hear what you're saying on that, and I actually the conversation I had with the DED was that was talking about that's not even a thing they do. They they said that they're hearing from the governor's office and from other people, like, you guys don't set up, that, that if you're a business, you got to figure it out. This is not a situation where somebody's needs to come and do that. We might need that help and that service in our community because we're not used to these processes. And I see where you guys try to put things in place in order to get, to provide some of that kind of help. But now that it's in the hands of the DED organization, who never really does that in the first place, is there why how come there's an expectation that they would do that, they would help? Is that something that you guys arranged before in conversation? Is that something that was in the bill to do? Those are kind of my questions there for that. Brother
Okay.
Wayne's back.
Did you
Man,
have a
I
question?
just went outside. Cox Cable strikes again.
Yeah, it's like that sometimes.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, but were you able to catch the question?
No, go ahead.
So the question that I was having was, we were talking about in the chat. Uh, Von Chapman, I believe it was asking, is there anything that is going to help? Where's the question at? He says, how are people waiting for funding being prepared, trained to be successful of during this waiting period? And my thing was that when I spoke to the DED, they were saying that this is not, what they're getting from everybody is, hey, they're supposed to be figuring this out. This is not, the DED doesn't do anything to be helping prepare people for their applications and so on and so forth. So I was wondering if this is something that you guys set up with them that's beyond the scope of what they would normally be doing. Was there an agreement there, or was it written in the bill, or was there something there that was supposed to do that? Because it didn't sound to me like that's something that they do.
So in the initial phase, we gave Olson extra dollars to help with technical assistance to help people apply.
Okay.
We Senator McKinney particularly stressed with DED. Is my mic okay?
Yeah, you
Yep,
good.
you
Okay.
good.
DED, Senator McKinney stressed with DED that there needs to be more technical assistance in at least 4 to 5 meetings I was in with them. And they came out with this no technical assistance. And I'm just going to be honest, that's BS. If I'm a major corporation, let's say I'm Union Pacific, Mutual of Omaha, any of these big corporations, and I want to apply for site and building funds, or I want to apply for any other grant process through DED, you sit down with DED and they help walk you through the process. So you apply and they say, hey, you might want to check these numbers. You might want to do this. You might want there is a back and forth conversation the entire time. The entire time.
Didn't know that.
But the people in this process aren't getting that.
No. And so what this comes down to me is I'm sitting back and I'm waiting to see how much money is going to go towards nonprofits, particularly South Omaha nonprofits. And I think that's going to go very well for me moving into this last session, because this was passed as an economic recovery plan. And so here's what I was going to say beforehand. What's very interesting is, if you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to get a small business loan, you have to go through economic or small business grants, economic impact valuation, which we don't know what that is. We asked them specifically in the meeting what that was, and they said they're going to be putting out something. And I said, well, in the meantime, you've interviewed with 200 people, and they went into an interview without knowing the criteria. I don't think that's transparent at all from a government's perspective. Everything else, you know what you're going into with the actual criteria before you go into the meeting. But if you want to be an entrepreneurship, you want to do home housing and what's the other one, Terrell, that has 2.0? Tourism. Youth talent. So if you want to do those, you got to have a 2.0. But the largest uncapped category, which is placemaking, you have to have a 0.25. So why is it that our small businesses and our entrepreneurs have to have a higher threshold of a 2.0 for an economic score than our largest conglomerate nonprofits only have to have a 2.5? And I would ask you to look at the recommendations on these larger projects, and you'll find out that, to me, they deviated the standard to fit certain nonprofits and to make sure, because they only had a 2.5. And so if you think about it, if you're spending $65 million, you have to have a less economic impact score to get the dollars than the small businesses that we're trying to help.
A 2 point, and just to clarify, that's 2.0 that they got to have. Small businesses got to have 2.5.
No, 2.0. You're right, 2.0 for those 3 categories. But our biggest conglomerates, the placemaking category, it's only 0.25, and that is to 0.25. So that's the favor. I mean, it's public. That's the favor, in my opinion, the Canopy Souths and those who only had a 0.25 in South Omaha.
Mm-hmm. And just to clarify, these numbers he's referencing the 2.0 and the 0.25. These are the scores that Olson gave out. Each individual. There's 3 levels. You have your catalyst projects, which are the projects that all scored a 2.0 and below. You have your like supplemental projects, which to be honest, we were identified as. We didn't quite score a 2.0. The Olson didn't identify us as a catalyst project or kind of quick win, as they're calling it. But they did recognize there was some viability, and then there's like the whole appendices, who is everybody else. So just to clarify.
Go ahead, Brother McKinney.
Oh, and I was gonna say, like, the director pretty much all but said they tailored that category around those projects. That's what he said. It's like, well, South Omaha, if we went on economic scores, South Omaha projects wouldn't qualify. Nothing against South Omaha. I swear, nothing against them. But this is, I told him, like, bro, you are the director of the Department of Economic Development, not the Department of Nonprofit Development. Like, it's a different conversation. We talk about economic development here. And I don't care if you're a nonprofit or for profit. If you're going to get evaluated in an economic analysis, it should all be the same thing. If you can't live up to it, you can't live up to it.
Oh man, this is it's opening up so many different questions for me. What I'm understanding right now is organizations like Canopy, situations like Canopy South over South, uh, basically is what I'm hearing, and correct me if I'm wrong. The certain ones, especially over there, wouldn't have worked if they hadn't have changed or changed the evaluation, lower the evaluation in order for them to work. And I know that there's people, there's like some self interest in there a little bit too as well. Like, isn't there people that are on that was in like on the board of Olson and stuff like that? Like, part of what Canopy South was all about. Isn't there like some direct situations there that it makes it questionable of why they would lower evaluations and stuff like that? I mean,
you guys can look at the Canopy South board and see where they worked and see who was a part of the evaluation team.
uh, um, here's the other part of
Let's just say that the little Sankofa was a side story to distract people when they said I had a connection to Sankofa, which was I did an articles of incorporation of a friend of mine who asked me to do it. And he still owed me $160 for the filing fees. I mean, but that was, to me, that's a distraction.
because there's other people that are involved directly with with bigger things like Canopy South and stuff like that were involved directly. Is what you're saying?
And understand that at the end of the day, like Canopy South's program and those in South Omaha, the Q Street corridor and the plaza, those are great projects. I'm not saying they're not, but I don't think you should lower the economic score to fund them. Like there's a different way they could have came up with that program to make sure they got funding, or their legislatures representative could have fought to make sure it was different, like we did for Malcolm X and Charles Drew. We went in and directed money directly towards them because they didn't quite fit into a category, and some of them had a low economic scores. But we knew from a community perspective that was the biggest feedback we got from the meetings we went to.
Okay, so that's why I think that's another reason why some of the a can of worms open up here as far as just questions are concerned, because like for instance, the conversation I had with DED was that a lot of the reason why what their purpose is there is to make sure that business happens so that businesses can pay taxes and we get there's bigger tax revenues coming in for the state, and that's kind of what they're supposed to be really working on. So how come all the nonprofits that aren't going to be paying taxes are making wins? If we're going to ask that question, then we got to say, well, then how did Malcolm X work? And you're saying it's because they didn't quite fit into a situation, and so you guys push for that. And
we were clear and transparent. To your point, you came to one community meeting. We had four community meetings post OSA, and the two groups that we heard from not them themselves, but from the community was, how's Charles Drew not getting any money? When are we going to take care of Malcolm X and turn it into a tourist destination? So
Right.
we went down to Lincoln through the process and said, Senator McKinney was like, hey, here's the feedback we got. We want to directly put money there. And he had to sell that to the legislature, which he did. And that's how the process works. That's anybody could come down to the public hearing and say no to Malcolm X, but he still got it through. We're not doing this backdoor behind the scenes stuff.
Okay, that's what I was trying to get to. So like Senator Tony Vargas could have done what you guys did on some of these programs over there in South Omaha. Instead, what they did was worked with the DED to lower the threshold for
Move the goalposts.
the goalpost for those particular programs, and that's some of the problem that we got with that.
Right.
So
So for example, who else is disqualified is 75 North because they got a $1.2 million grant from a housing grant that they're disqualified. And I'm not saying I'm supporting 75 North, but I am saying the process has to be the process. They
right,
should
and
at least be able to apply.
Yeah.
it doesn't seem very uniform across the board. And I'm just thinking about, again, going back to our experience, the kind of gray area. I do find it interesting that it sounded like the the grant process was formed around, like you're saying, these nonprofits to fit in a box, when on the flip side, all the entrepreneurs and small businesses like us trying to figure it out are left in limbo, kind of in the gray area. Like at one point, I do understand what you're saying, Terrell, Senator McKinney, about having a year to be prepared. But like someone said in the chat, these 8 different criteria that did change the game. That did change the game for a lot of people, and trying to figure out which one of those 8 criteria you fit in. It is proven to be a challenge, especially with the DED. And I understand that they don't want to tell anybody the wrong information and get blamed for somebody not getting, um, a grant. But where do people go to figure out, which grant which one of these 8 categories they fall in? Um, how do we figure that out if nobody's willing to tell us, or give us the information? That's just kind of what it seems like to me. Like a lot of people falling into the gray area, if you will.
I'm not saying like navigating the categories isn't a thing. I'm saying being prepared as knowing where the property is at where you want to place your
Oh,
project,
okay, yeah.
knowing what contractors you want to have working your project and things like that. That's what I'm saying.
Okay,
Those things should have been established.
agreed.
And on the flip side to that, I agree with Senator McKinney. I do think, and I just keep watching this little sprinkler go back and forth. It's so peaceful. I should lose all mine out here. Uh, but for real though, the other thing is like if you got a capital project, if I'm DED, I'm gonna lay out my criteria. Like you gotta at least go to planning. You gotta at least talk to planning, have some kind of consensus that from the city of Omaha is even gonna approve your project. Like there's just some basic criteria that, hey, we're not gonna eliminate you, but we're gonna score this heavily, right? Like you could still apply, but if you don't even know what you want, like you ain't even got renderings that are compliant with city code, then I'm not sure you're going to be able to complete the project at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but none of that, in my opinion, has been articulated very well to the community on what they're looking for.
And I want to jump in because I really think we're moving along here in this conversation, and we're a little bit stuck because we are definitely seeing that there's not a whole right now there's not a lot of solidarity and just message and procedures and things like that. There's a lot of questions that keep coming up, and they can keep coming up because this whole thing is really really messy right now. But the thing that I want to really kind of stress though is that what we're really talking about here is that this is a new thing. This is something I feel like with the DED is there's $800 million out there that the DED this is having to is navigating right now. They do this every year because that's what the department is for. And the way that things have been going is that there's only like an elite group of people that know how to navigate these whole processes. That sometimes now you're saying sometimes they will even sit down with you and have communication through the whole process. When they're getting the message that this is North Omaha, they're not ready. They're not going to be ready. They're getting that message from everywhere, and they're saying, well, what do we do to circumvent that? They don't have anything laid out there in their processes besides meeting with people one-on-one, office hours, and so on and so forth to help navigate this through. And what we're really talking about here is that North Omaha needs a little bit, because it's so new and such a thing that we're not used to. We need a little bit more guidance on how to navigate that world. And you guys have been trying to help put that together. You guys thought of that in the beginning and try to put things in place before this process even happened in order to get to the point where that could be the case. We're also thinking that the DED may be able to do a little bit more if they were inclined to do that in order also to help this process. And right now we're in the mud when what we really need to do is figure out how we can get past that, get down to that point. How do we help North Omaha get this money and get all on the same page with that? Do you feel like that is even possible with the DED, or do you feel like that there's some kind of contention there? From my conversations with people over at the DED, it feels like they also have this goal of wanting to get North Omaha some money and and get through this process. So, how is it that we can figure out how to come together on it in order to even when we disagree on techniques and stuff like that, in order to get this done before the year's up? I don't know if
I
this.
mean, at the end of the day, to my opinion is that there's going to be some wins, right? There's going to be wins all over North Omaha. Where you see the angst or the frustration from myself and Senator McKinney is that we're leaving money on the table. So, and how that came about was we had multiple people in North Omaha meeting with the governor's office and economic development office when the Olson report came out. And we said this on your show multiple times. The more they can see some division in us, the more they're gonna move this money somewhere else.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the frustration and angst that I think you're seeing from us, is that we're probably gonna miss out on 30 to 40, if not $50 million, that's gonna go South Omaha or some areas of Western Omaha that have qualified census tracts, because we allow the division to occur in our community. So from that, we got to, my perspective, I only have 1 year left. So I'm gonna pick some projects that I think are gonna have impact, and I'm gonna try to get funding from them next year based off of what I saw in the Olson report. That's all I can do in 1 year. But I think as a community, when you go down and meet with the governor, while it's cool to go meet with the governor and talk about economic development, you got to understand they're approaching it as a way to divide us.
Mm-hmm.
What in your opinion, and I want to ask this to both of you guys, what in your opinion would you have to do in order to be able to figure out how to work with DED right now? Not thinking about what's happening next year, but right now, like what would have to shift in order for you guys to all sit in the, you guys to all come into a room and try to get as much money off the table as possible? Yes, there'll be some wins, but the things that you're concerned about, what would have to happen? What would you guys have to do in order to get there? Brother McKinney, you about to jump on the plane?
Yeah,
Your
I
time's
would.
up. Yeah, go
Yep.
ahead.
But I would say for me, I mean, the process is a process. Unless they decide to extend all the deadlines and allow everybody to apply, I don't think we're gonna get on the same page this year. And it's just gonna be what it's gonna be, and we just gotta make some fixes next year in the bill.
Actually, speaking to that point, I did look at it while we were talking, and a lot of grant windows are closing starting today. Actually, today is the close date for the placemaking infrastructure grant, and then several other grants you have until the 10th, which is just a week to apply for that. So, yes, these windows are closing very quickly, and you're saying people are going to miss out on opportunities unless they extend those windows.
Well, I think North Omaha is going to miss out on opportunities. Again, that's because of the division that we create within ourselves. And I mean, that's really just it. It's the division that we create within ourselves. When we go down and we badmouth other people, when we go down and we badmouth other businesses, that allows the skepticism to come in for DED to not fund. And for me, it's like, at the end of the day, if this dude I don't like gets a win, he gets a win for North Omaha.
Right. Community first.
All right. Well, I don't know how far.
Paul, stop sounding so sad, man.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know how much.
I was say, Paul, what's your
My
thoughts?
my thought is I don't know how much further, how much there's not much more. I'm trying to get down to business to the action of the situation, which to me is we're still going to continue to work to figure this out. We're going to have somebody from the DED over and talk about it. We're talking to the senators right now, and we're asking the senators about how is it that we can get together on some things. Brother McKinney is saying the process is what it is now. There's really doesn't seem like there's much that you guys can do about the process or work with them on the process. The process is the process. It's already coming up to deadlines. All we can really do is put our wishes out there to the DED and see if they will comply. See if they'll try to help. Either way, it's gonna be it's gonna be messy because, and when I say messy, I don't just mean messy. It's just going to be all over the place because there's going to be a bunch of wins. There's going to be people that's tripping on those wins. There's going to be some losses. There's going to be some blame. There's going to be some I don't see any, looking at this thing as closely as I have, I don't see any way to get out of. There's going to be a whole lot of people upset and a whole lot of a whole community in disarray. And I can't imagine like being the governor, being in the governor's office and just being like, you know what, let's, how about we do something else instead of deal with all this. This is just too much going on here. Everybody doing too much. How about we do something else?
I mean, I'm sure they would much rather invest in a lake than deal with all
Not
this.
just on that tip. I mean, they are already going to be inclined to do what they want to do. But the point is, how hard is this process? How and how complicated are things? And to a point where there's not going to be a whole lot. I mean, there's, like I said, not going to be a whole lot of oh, this process went very smoothly. Everybody's going to feel like this is all over the place. Even the wins are going to feel like losses because of people tripping on who's winning.
Mm.
You know
I
what I
mean,
mean?
but one of the things you got to realize is in South Omaha, they could pick 3 projects and get over $150 million, and their entire community's behind it. We can't pick 3 projects in North Omaha. I mean, even when we did the Charles Drew and Malcolm X, we had people going down and trying to undercut that too,
Really?
saying that to start this museum. That, I mean, if you think about it, we got what, 1, 2, 3, 4 black claimed museums in North Omaha, and they're all competing against each other, and they don't want to work together.
And you know what? And
Yeah.
to your point, what I heard talking to some people, talking to some leaders in South Omaha, and talking to some people at the DED, South Omaha went in there and said, these are the things we want." And anytime anybody tried to from South Omaha was chiming up about something else, they got shut down because we're gonna concentrate on these 3 things. The solidarity over there on something was something way different than what we got over here. And it was not just everybody was on the same page and wanted to do the same project. It was some people got just, we no, we're shutting you down on that because we need to approach the DED with just these 3 things. And so the whole situation in South Omaha is different than what happened in North Omaha. And
there's only one project over there that caused some angst that is not getting funding. And from my understanding, they're like, "Hey, you second round. We're gonna figure out how to get you." And they ain't said nothing since.
But I guess who is making those decisions? Like, who is the leadership in South Omaha that kind of went forth with that ass? Like, what's the hierarchy?
Foundations, nonprofit foundations. But regardless of that, I mean, ain't nobody at the grassroots level saying too much different. I mean, literally, the governor has met with 8 different businesses 3 times that are from North Omaha. They gave 3 different answers in each meeting. There's a North Omaha Economic Council that the chamber was a part of, which was led by some other folks. They had some different opinions. Then you had Senator McKinney and I had some different opinions, and then you got the foundations who want to do housing, which nothing wrong with housing, but the economic impact score of that is low, very low. And it's just because these are all part-time jobs, and most of them are apartments. Very few of them are changing the wealth dynamic by single-family homes. And so, from my perspective, and I'm probably gonna get in trouble, but I only got a year left, so I think it was intentional. I think the foundations divided North Omaha and unified South Omaha.
Actually, that's what Brother Von Chapman is saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Kimber Snipes, that's their community. Who's their community? This is my issue. We keep the city segregated the way we talk about it. Well, I don't know if we're keeping it segregated. I do know that there are two different needs in two different areas. Even though we talk as much solidarity as we can. We call it East Omaha, but at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, when situations happen like this, then you got powers that be. Just to Brother Wayne's point, that may be trying to divide it.
Like, let me ask you. There is no uproar about 75 North being disqualified. There's no uproar about Habitat for Humanity being disqualified. There's no uproar from the foundations about that. That's because it's in North Omaha. There's no uproar for Holy Name, some of their projects not qualifying. I mean, these are key North Omaha affordable housing. However, let that have been Canopy South being disqualified. There'd be an uproar. I'm just saying, what's the difference?
That's a good
The only
question.
difference is certain foundations are allowing it.
Yeah, and I'm also feeling like when I think about 75 North, I don't think it don't seem like they it seemed like they already got funded. I don't know how else to say that. Like if
I,
it don't
I
feel
hear
like
you.
they need, we felt like Charles Drew needed some funding. We felt like Malcolm X needed some funding. We don't necessarily. I don't know if we had the same feeling about 75 North. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't even know
I don't
75
disagree.
North applied. So I don't know. I mean, this perception is there. It comes back to the lack of solidarity all the way around. Um, which at this point, we have to keep trying to salvage some kind of way. The money's not out yet, and then there's plans for next year. So we better be talking about it now.
Yeah, and I think I mean, moving forward, I think we just gotta get around a couple projects and make it work. But that's just that requires a lot of work and a lot of input, and uh, people work, people got jobs, and people don't always come together like that, and that's just the
Mm-hmm.
reality that we got to deal with. And the best example is the museum example. We got Great
Man.
Plains, we got Malcolm X. Omaha Star had a little museum, and there was one other one. Oh, Chambers wanted to have a museum for her father, right? And so putting them in a room and saying, "How can we all work together?" I can tell you that didn't go very well.
Mm.
All right,
Yeah.
man. It's 8:32 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, and I'd rather switch gears to your sprinklers and your birds chirping out there right now. Just to give us a little smell the coffee beans, give us a little break from that whole situation there. We can come back and talk about these things more, and we appreciate you taking the time to really kind of still dive in and try to decipher some of this stuff and let us know from your perspective what's going on. We can talk about what's going on every day for the rest of the year, and we'll still have questions about what's going on and how it's working and
Man.
who did what and so on and so forth. And now at this point, like Brother McKinney said, the process is the process. Now we just got to go through it. So
Yeah.
leaving it there, switching gears. Oh, go ahead, go ahead. You got
No,
more.
we go through it and we learn, right? We go through it and we
Right.
learn.
Right.
We are since the beginning of America, we've been taxed and we've been stamped. So you learn and you navigate, and that's like I told McKinney. I said that was probably the worst hearing that I ever had for something that I'm the most passionate about, but it was also the best hearing because now I know how to move. Like there's no more secrets. It's like okay, now I know I'll be able to finish my year the way I want to.
There you go.
There you go.
And hopefully you come back and tell us how you want to do that. First of all, let's just switch gears up altogether. What's going on now? Now that you've had this tough meeting, that was the worst meeting and the best meeting. Were you able to do anything over the weekend to decompress from all of that and anything on a positive note that you brought your spirit back with?
No, I watched the football game. I watched Nebraska take a pounding and Dion Colorado come back and almost pull it off. And then I just really chilled, man. I just had to sit back and rethink the moves, uh, rethink how we're going to do things. And I started jotting something down, and I feel pretty confident about it. I feel like at the end of this, we're gonna get the wins that we want. It just may take a 6 months longer. That's all. Like everybody's thinking this money is, once it gets out the door, I mean, it ain't gonna get out the door until probably damn near December. Well, that just gives me 6 months to get something else done. So, you may be delayed a little bit, but we're gonna get the funding that we need to get done. And there is more money. There is more money set aside. This is just the first round. And I hate to say it like that, but it's a big round of 185 million plus. But for the next 3 years, you got another 200 million coming in.
And
So
is it going to have to go through the same process with the DED and all
no,
that?
that's what I'm saying. This is actually
You learning.
this is actually setting things up for us to do better because we're learning. And this goes back to mentors and people in the game never passing things down and just the overall division. And that's what we're trying to eliminate in North Omaha is how do we create influencers? And at the end of the day, we don't have influencers. We don't have people who can call down to the mayor's office and we've been cutting checks to her campaign, to the city council campaign, saying, "Hey, I need to sit down and meet with you." We need some black and brown millionaires, but we also need people who understand the politics and the political game that we're in. Who can call DED and who's navigated it before if you're a company. I passed a bill, and this is what I mean by learning. I passed a bill 2 years ago called the Urban Redevelopment Act. It's a tax credit up to $50,000 for small businesses if they want to redo a building or buy a building or anything. Really, it's a tax credit. Well, the problem was I didn't know how to navigate it, nor did anybody else. So that's just been sitting there, and nobody's really been able to take advantage of it because that was, I don't want to say their world, but that was their world. They knew how to navigate it. So I thought if we just passed the bill, pass it and they will come. Well, it's a whole different mindset when going to DED saying, "Hey, I'm applying for this tax credit," and going out to the market and make sure your tax credits are so. It's a lot more. It's bigger than that. But who are we gonna put in that game to help black businesses understand it? Like that's the kind of stuff that I'll give you the best example. Mutual of Omaha is building this skyscraper downtown. And by the time they get done, they probably won't have to pay any taxes for 10 years, including payroll taxes.
Wow.
Because of all the tax credits, all the Imagine Act stuff that they'll be able to take advantage of, all these different tax credit programs. Shit, the state might be owing them money.
And you're saying there's nobody helping, quote unquote, black and brown businesses and corporations navigate that.
No. And so, again, so I thought the Imagine Act is for the big dogs, Union Pacific, Mutual of Omaha, Berkshire Hathaway, the big. I said, man, we're going to take that and just make it small. We're going to call it the Urban Redevelopment Act. I thought I was on to something. I passed it and I was like, well, who's using it? There's like, don't nobody know how to do this stuff? And I was like, oh, we made it simpler. There's like, it don't matter. Like most people ain't heard of tax credits. And so we gotta figure out how to get that done. And so that's one of the things I hope I can do when I leave here. Now that I've been not leave here like I'm dying, but leave here. The Senate is to put together some kind of business that can help. Because I ain't a tax accountant, so I don't know it all either. But I know enough that I could fill out the form wrong. And so we got to figure out how to fill it out right.
And then we got to hope they don't move the goalposts after we do fill it out right. So we got a lot to work on.
Yeah, and part of that is also the legislatures. Like we gotta, they showed their hand on how they do grants, and so you got to take away all that discretion. Even though I think some of that discretion is against the law. I mean, I got two options, right? I could file a lawsuit, which I know I can do, and I know I could be successful. And then that's all. Only thing that's going to happen to that is it's going to hold up the money for 6, 7, 8 more months. But that ain't going to solve the problem either. It's going to solve the problem is having people in there like McKinney who can help navigate this and put the laws in to make sure they don't have discretion to move the goalposts.
Right.
Succession that leads me to my last question. Succession plan for you? You talk about this in your last year. We gotta ask you.
Man, I've talked to a lot of folks. None of the current candidates I feel like I can really support at this point. To me, my district, especially after redistricting, it's about a 40%, 30% Democrat, 30% Republican, 30% Independent, right? So you got to be able to navigate all aspects. And so my district is the most diverse district in the state. I go from the river, Miller Park, 2 homeless shelters at the airport, to Walter Scott. He's passed, bless his heart. David Scott, Lake Cunningham, and Ponca. And I got honeybee farmers. I got ranchers, and I go all the way out to 120th and to the county line. So you can't. People hate the fact that I'm not like super pro liberal or whatever, but I represent a diverse group of people, and my job is to represent them. And so you got to sit there and think critically on all these issues. And I think the worst thing we can do in this district for District 13 is to put somebody who's just a party person. Because party people, in my opinion, and that's all parties, they left North Omaha behind.
Oh yeah.
So I'm still hoping, to meet with some more people and see how that goes. But I tell people my endorsement don't carry a lot of weight, but my non-endorsement carries more.
Okay. Less party people, more people.
And again, I understand parties are a collection of marketplace of different ideas, right? It's a whole bunch of different ideas in the basket. But it seems like the extremes on both parties are filling up that basket too much. And so the poor whites, black and browns, and the working people are getting left behind in all aspects. So
there you go.
It is what it is. But Paul, man, it's a beautiful day. The sprinklers out. Man, it ain't doom and gloom yet. It ain't doom and gloom yet. We got this. We're gonna figure it out. And we're gonna do what we
looks like you're getting a call.
That's the only problem with doing it on my phone. People start calling. We're gonna do what we always do. We're gonna rebound and make it work. You know what I'm saying? That's the whole point of us. Is our existence is to rebound and make it work, and we've always done it.
Live to fight another day,
man.
Well, we appreciate you, man. I am gonna go. I'm starting to shoot over at the Metropolitan Community College, the reentry program situation over there. I get to talk to a couple brothers that are actually incarcerated but off campus to be able to work, and that always gives me some a bright future kind of feeling. Like there is some things out there for some brothers that have been in some trouble, and now they are trying to turn some things around. There's some resources for them to do that. So that's how I'm gonna spend my day, outside with the birds and with the brothers, and filming that, and just trying to spread a positive message through that. And I hope that everybody else can do the same. Hope you do the same. But you got plans? What you working today? What you got going on today?
I'm gonna work today. I'm gonna pretend to be a lawyer today and help out some people. Yeah, man, I'm gonna work, and hopefully I don't get sidetracked by all this stuff. But I look at it as we made a great run. We built a good foundation, and I think people are missing the point that 185 million, man, that's a drop in the bucket over the next 3 to 4 years. Like we just, the Olson plan was what it was. I think we put them in a position to do a unthinkable task, to do an entire strategic plan for East Omaha that's never been done before in 4 months. But I think out of that has been a lot of good projects that we can now sit down and help build up. And once and like for me personally, out of that was the lack of media in our community. Like, and I ain't talking just radio and dance and hip hop, but the actual lack of conversation. Because I was ignorant to that fact. And it took a little rough start where y'all were calling us out about 1024. but from that, it was just like, and I think you guys have seen it too, like there can't be enough communication. Like we got to figure out how to keep talking. And I hate to keep using the slave narrative, but we got 400 years of misinformation or no information that was intentional. And here you guys are at a bright spot, and everybody's like, well, we didn't hear that. And I know Paul Beeee pulling his head out talking about, man, I know I said this at least 4 weeks in a row. You know what I'm saying? But that's foreign to us, that kind of constant communication, that information bringing and truth bringing, right? Like, so half of the time we don't even believe what we're talking about, because we're like, man, I knew Paul when he was at Hartman Elementary, and he stole some pencils. I still don't believe him 40 years later. You know what I mean? That's who we are, and overcoming that, man, is going to be hard, But man, it's a beautiful thing to move that process along.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Appreciate that, man.
Definitely.
We're gonna keep on working on it, man. Keep doing it, and hopefully we can expand that opinion and get more people
Yeah.
talking. And get more
That's what
people
I say.
acting, like, not just talking, but getting down to some action points now. So
Boots to
yeah,
the
and
roots.
I say it all the time too, man. I'm like, look, the senators come on every week saying what's up. If you want to find out, go
Right.
back to the old shows and check it out. You know what I'm saying? Better
Something.
yet, give them a call. They put their number out there every time. Like, call us. So there is a point we get as much. We need more information out there, more discussion, of course. But there is the point at which now I'm kind of seeking out the people that seek out the information, not just are waiting to get a
Right.
spoon fed, but are actually trying to find out what's going on too. So appreciate you guys doing that, man. Taking your mornings and taking your time to even come through weekly like this and shine some light. If ain't nobody getting nothing out of it, at least me and Buddy are learning. So
Yeah.
you know what I mean.
It's a
Think we're not the
process,
only
man.
ones.
It's a process, and you drinking water from a fire hose, and it's crazy, and that's and what we have a problem is we think of right now, and I'm telling you what the billionaires and millionaires they think in the next 5 to 10 years for their communities,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
and
Because
that's a
they
tough
taken care
mindset.
of right now. They ain't worried about right now. They got
True, that is
Baycox.
true.
Baycox cable is right now. They ain't worried. So it
Right.
is
I
what
mean,
it
it's
is.
cool though, but man, hey man, let's just keep it moving, keep it grinding, and like I said, we just got to figure out how to write some legislation to make sure everybody get taken care of, and at least the folks that I think are doing right. And you guys are in that category. I've said that 100 times. Like, I appreciate all y'all doing.
Thanks,
Yeah.
man.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you for sure.
Now
Let's
get
talk
back
soon.
them #2 pencils, man, so they can start trusting you again, man.
Apologize for the spit wads. Nah, it's playing.
Man. Yeah.
All right,
Using them as drumsticks. That's what it is.
all right, y'all, be easy.
peace.
All right. Peace.
Yeah.
Peace. Yep. Brother Malik Rogers giving the respect, says much respect for responding to comments by coming on show consistently. Definitely big shout out to those brothers. And big shout out to you for bringing your question.
Yeah, thank you for joining in the chat. I didn't get to say too much in the chat. I'm definitely going to come back and do that. But let's take a quick break first. Again, you're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the
Paul
DS.
Beeee, Buddi3 Da Gawd. Chat timers,
Hey.
ghost listeners, radio listeners, senators, everybody on deck.
Going down.
Going down. Stay tuned.
Time to get my hustle on. Hustle till the break of dawn. Do whatever makes me strong. Worry about the right and wrong. Time to get my hustle on. Hustle till the break of dawn. Do whatever makes me strong. Worry about the right and wrong. Living in the HIC. Brothers all surrounding me. Ain't no futures here. Just lives full of pain and fear. Time for a different stroke. I'm tired always being broke. Me and just about all my folks. Tired of being without hope. So it's time to get my hustle on. Hustle till the break of dawn. Do whatever makes me strong. Worry about the right and wrong.
Welcome back. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the
Paul Beeee
morning.
the Dove, Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you chat
Hey.
chimers. We appreciate everybody that is joined into the chat today. Chat's
Thank
kind of
you.
going off. Everybody had a lot of things to talk about here, and we really appreciate everybody doing that. And
Man.
if I did not get to your comment, which I didn't for the last few minutes, then definitely check this out in its entirety on Facebook and YouTube. Go back anytime after we're done being live, and go back and check out the show and check out what's in the chat. There's a lot of stuff going on in the chat right now, and a lot of good comments, a lot of good ideas. Our brother Knight's talking about the museum issue seems easy. Chambers and Star go to the Great Plains. X facilities are 3 in some form. So trying to get some solutions to that situation with the museums. But I think he was just probably using that as an example to show about the complexity of solidarity in North Omaha. Just period,
Yeah.
man. Everybody has their ideas. Everybody thinks that they should be there's not, I notice in other communities there's a lot of like, we'll do this time and then your turn is next, and they trust that and they go for it and back each other. But when you're in a situation where you don't know what's coming next, you're in the traumatic situation of being in a economically depressed situation where you don't know where your next check is coming from.
PTSD.
It's kind of hard to say. Tony
Yeah.
Johnson says, feel that Republicans are talking Nebraska issues, though not accurate. Sometimes Democrats talking only national issues, not as relevant as Nebraska. Interesting. T. Wren says Republicans are working against you actively with these funds, with the right to vote, everything. But Malik Rogers says, much respect for responding to the comments. Yeah, we said that one already. T. Wren said, and we can dance around the fact all day long. At the end of the day, they are the biggest problem for masses of black people right now. And you
talking about Republicans?
Talking about Republicans. Pop said, I got to release that track. Brother Chapman says, Cox Cable is not going to change until more competition is established in the marketplace. Did anyone from the company ask to establish a new cable company to compete with Cox Cable? Whole lot of what do they call it? What's fiber being laid right now? A whole bunch of companies popping up. There was a big economic boost from Joe Biden putting out. He put out some infrastructure for what am I talking
the broadband.
Yeah, broadband. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, and a whole bunch of companies that were already primed to jump on that jumped on it. Next thing you know, North Omaha's getting dug up left and right to lay more fiber.
And whole time I was there in Omaha, man, that's all I saw was people tearing up the street.
Yep, and not to mention Google is coming to town with that as well. So Cox is in trouble, a little bit of trouble. T. Wren says there's plenty of 531 money for all those museums. This is true. I'm not sure if that's true, but I feel that too. I definitely feel that as well. I think there's plenty of money for a lot. I think what I got from the senators this time around is that some money's going to be given out, but a lot of money's going to be left on the table because of not being able to really get together on where it's supposed to go, how it's supposed to work. There's people going to be falling through the cracks, and all that stuff. So not really sure.
To that point, I also want to add on. Brother Vaughn Chapman earlier in the chat says, from a historical perspective, and for the past 60 years plus, they have never given North priority, and it appears they continue to intentionally frustrate the process. And we are talking to as many people as we can in this, and I don't actually get the sense so much that there's an intentional frustration of the process. I think a lot of what's going on right now is all based in the trauma response. I think a lot of people are traumatized based on experience, based on, like you said, not knowing when the next opportunity is going to come, or really even knowing if this opportunity is really going to come to fruition. Just a lot of skepticism, a lot of mistrust, and I think that's kind of muddying the waters, if you will, in a lot of this, as far as people going to the governor's office, or even the miscommunication between the senators and the DED. I think there's a lot of trauma response that is informing a lot of what's going on.
Most deaf. Lots to talk about on this one. Like I said, if you missed any parts of that interview with the senators, go back and check it out. It's in entirety on Facebook or YouTube. Check the comments. Still so much more to talk about this. And really, every time I get around it now, I'm just like, man, it feels so crazy to not be able to have a clear win or loss. Even this is just messy on all. You get if all that money got taken away and we went to some lake, we'd have a clear point of anger and being fired up about it. If all the money came to North Omaha and everybody got funded the way they wanted to, then we'd have a clear win. But that's none of them. Neither of them two things are ever going to really happen. It's just not going to happen. And so you got to feel like, well, there's going to be some wins, but there's also going to be people that, some losses. But even deeper than that, there's people that are going to feel like some wins are losses. And when it's all said and done, there's no way that money's going to, I don't feel like there's any way that money's going to come through without some of it going to places it wasn't intended.
Yeah. What I anticipate is next year between these funds being disseminated and it being an election year, it's going to be very hectic next year.
Those of you been hearing me say that I talked to people at the DED and they talked about coming on. We're going to try to have them on very soon as well, and really kind of get it from the horse's mouth, man. What's really going on? Had a very interesting conversation that kind of opened my eyes about their process and what's going on there. So we'll definitely continue to talk about that part. Because if we can hear from them what they say their process is and the reasons why they do what they're doing behind those processes, hopefully some more understanding will come out about how it is we can navigate with this, because it's not over yet. It's not over yet, and the money has not been disseminated yet, and they're still in the process all the way around. So we will definitely see. There's still interviews and things like that happening all the time. There's still people having conversations. There's still office hours that you can go to. There's still a lot going on where we can kind of find out how to navigate what's going on with the DED on this, because that's where it lies now. That's where it lies now. And one of the people that I talked to, his name is Trey. He's over there. He's kind of helping run this program. He got a lot of money that he's in charge of, and he's a young cat from the black community that is, that wants to see some wins for North Omaha too. So hopefully we'll have him on and we can talk about some of that, and about how he sees that working under the mandates that has to work under. Again, the DED is there to support businesses in order to get more tax revenue for the state.
And there's a letter of the law that they have to follow. They don't make the law; they just have to follow it.
Bruh said the governor was like, give all the businesses some money if you can, because that's more tax. Then the businesses will pay taxes.
They got to pay taxes.
They don't care nothing about holding no business back from North Omaha. They want more business in North Omaha, so that businesses in North Omaha can pay taxes, and that's the goal. So like, when you hear about, I understand. It's interesting to try to understand all points, all sides, all what I'm saying, and just understand what I'm really getting at right now. Before there's not a whole lot of time here for the haps or anything right now, so I might as well just say it. But
it's Monday.
Yeah, it's Monday. But what I'm really seeing is that this stuff was in place. We saw the senators set things in place. Even Olson, a lot of these things were controls that they try to put in place because they knew that money comes out here all the time, and North Omaha has a hard time getting it. So they put a whole bunch of stuff in place to try to make sure that North Omaha gets it. And from what I understand, some of it worked. Some of it didn't go as planned. There's not a whole lot of agreement on everything at all. There's some disagreements on a bunch of stuff, but some of their efforts worked. Some of their efforts, some of the things is going to mean there's going to be some wins, like he said, like the brother said. So, but some things didn't work, and now they have a playbook for how they're going to approach next year with that knowledge. And so there we are. So now it's about us trying to still really navigate, those of us that have businesses that are trying to still get that money in and do some economic redevelopment here in North Omaha. There's still some money out there to get. There's still some ways that we can talk to the DED. We can still try to figure out the process. We can still work work the process ourselves. We can still ask for help in certain areas and so on and so forth. And they keep on saying they're here for the people too. You got office hours. You can call the department. You can talk to the representatives there. You can really study that document that Buddy calls the Bible. There's more things to do now. Like Brother McKinney said, the process now is the process. That's all there is to it.
Yeah. The legislation is written. The law is laid.
Some of us gonna lose, and those of us that lose, some of us are gonna be trying to blame the senators for that, and that would be unfair and uncalled for, because from what I'm seeing, all they really been trying to do was secure the bag for North Omaha, not just ask for it.
I mean, they did. Like I said, they did their job. They wrote the law. The law got passed. The money got allocated.
And now it's DED's job now it's their job to disseminate that, to figure out how they're going to disseminate that under their guidelines so that the governor signs off on it.
Right. And that's just checks and balance of power. That's nothing that, the senators can really do. So at this point, yeah, we're trying to hold out optimism, because what other option do you have? I mean, you can go down the path of getting disenfranchised, and that's kind of, disenchanted, I guess is the word I'm thinking of. But And that, can kind of discourage you from even wanting to be a part of the process. You trying to keep hope alive, to stay in the process, to try to figure it out, try to see the light at the end of the tunnel to get through it, because some people are going to get the money. Like it's, I understand the skepticism and again the trauma, but yeah, we just got to see how this plays out.
Most deaf. 1 minute until 9 o'clock. We're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. Anything that we need to be teasing up for Wednesday, perhaps? Some more things that we wanted to try to get into and talk about today.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, didn't really get to talk about it much. Even with the senators on, this is another issue that again we've been talking to them a lot about. But prison reform, again, we're getting into that more and more. A shout out to Diane Good-Collins with the Nebraska Reentry Program at Metropolitan Community College. Again, we are working with them to put together some documentaries to tell the stories a little more closely. But just the whole issue of prison reform, again, next year is going to be another session. It's an election year. It's going to be a good time actually to address prison reform, something that we didn't really get a lot of attention and a lot of focus on this year because of LB 1024. So we'll definitely be talking about that panel that recently happened last week in the conversation around prison inmates and workforce development, and how could formerly incarcerated individuals add or help change the workforce shortage here in Nebraska. So a lot of layers to the prison, reform and recidivism and just that whole conversation. So maybe we can get into that on Wednesday as well.
There you go. A lot of opinions in the chat. Appreciate your opinions. Some of them I agree with, some of them I don't agree with. So we'll have to address those and come back with them another time. But we'll go ahead and get out of here today. But thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Appreciate everybody that's joined in and saying the things that's on your mind on that. I always say it all the time. We got the best chat in the world. Everybody who is speaking up, bringing some facts, also bringing the how it is that they feel. We really do care about how people in our community feel about a lot of what's going on here too. So I just really appreciate everybody who's has joined into the chat and keeping that whole style of let's make sure that we're talking to each other as if we're in the same room. There's a few things going on out there that I'll have to address at some point, but right now I think for the most part it's mostly positive, mostly a great thing, mostly by the way that we try to design this show, working out to be able to talk with you, the chat chimers. So really appreciate that very much. And we'll go ahead and get out of here and jump into some more things coming up Wednesday. We will have Andrea Joy Pearson on Wednesday. She'll be coming on talking about what's going on with AfroCon. Of course, we're going to be having brother Kasim and also brother Sherman Wells on to talk about their event coming up this weekend. So still lots of guests coming in, people to talk to. Hopefully somebody from the DED will talk to them and have them come on as well. And we'll see what's going on. So again, thank you for everybody that's joining into the chat. Stay tuned for all the good stuff coming up and more conversations that's happening. Buddy, got some words for the people?
Yeah, man, I appreciate, as Paul mentioned, the chat, man. And even if we don't agree, we can agree to disagree as long as we do so respectfully. That's all we ask, man. So we appreciate you. We love you. We thank you all the same. And yeah, we do believe in the power of agreements, as Paul always says. So it is past that time. Again, big shout out to everybody chiming into the chat, letting your mind be free, letting your voice be heard, regardless of how you feel about the situation. Your voice and your opinion matter. So again, let your mind be free, let your voice be heard, and catch the same time, same place, man. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, right here on First Sky Omaha in the morning. As Brother Rome's review is reminding you, hit that like button. We're definitely searching and trying to get to that threshold of 500 subscribers on YouTube. So check us out on YouTube. Help us get to a level of monetization as we try to expand, hire some folk. We're trying to have economic impact on the community, man. So definitely help us. Yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly it, man. And we need more of it, not just us. So thank you for all your support. Hopefully we can get more. And with that, Paul Beeee, take it away, man.
Mayor Sanchez also is letting us know, telling everybody have a blessed week, everyone. Appreciate that very much.
Yes.
Pops says, great show. Thank you, and see you Wednesday. Thanks, Pops. Also, I was going to say, Miss Erica Felt is saying, I'm wishing everyone a healthy and happy week. I'll be checking the replay of today's show. Busy this morning. Drink water and be good to yourselves. Always great advice. Thank you very much for that. I want to thank the Omaha tribe elders for allowing us to be on this land and speak while we're here. Thanks to our elders for allowing us to speak before them. And thanks to you, the chat chimers, everyone, for allowing us to speak with you. And I thank you for all the great chats, all the things that you contributed. Also, the Friends of First Sky Omaha, all the great articles that we might have missed. Looking around for some of the things to talk about. It always feels good when I can go to Friends of First Sky Omaha and see what you, the chat chimers, feel like talking about, and what the ghost listeners are backing you up on. So really appreciate everybody who is involved with this whole effort. Also, the people who are reoccurring members and sponsors of the channel as well. So really appreciate it. Yeah, can't do without that. The $10 people, the $25 people, the $50 people. Really appreciate everybody who contributes to the show and contributes to this movement here, and everybody that has come to the content creators camp as well. We know that we got to expand what we do, and one way to do that is to help individuals who are so inclined to do some more conversations and reporting and so on and so forth, and get them, especially ones that have access to our neighborhoods in North and South Omaha. This is what we're all about. So hopefully we'll be able to help and continue to train folks and expand it that way as well. And we're doing that with your help. So thank you very much. If you haven't donated to the cause, please consider doing so. Go to firstsky.omaha.com, hit the donate button, and we'll really appreciate it. And again, we'll see you on Wednesday and we'll see you on Friday, a full week ahead of all kinds of things to talk about. Prayers go to the families for the kids that were lost this weekend, and the kids that were injured as well. Whatever we can do to kind of reach out and help with those families in their times of need, in order to be community members to this community, we will do, and we encourage all of you to do that as well. So again, thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you Wednesday.
Peace.
By the way, Vanguard. This is protected by the red